Okay, well, I guess everybody knows everybody up here except for me. But we are going to. Sorry, did I start this? Thank you very much. We're gonna do financial budget review, improvements in the neighborhood, security, and the most anticipated event in probably this neighborhood's history, the compliance policy. And then homeowners, questions and answers. So if everybody could wait until that point for questions, that'd be great. And I believe we will adjourn after that.
Yep.
And Rodney told us we do have a quorum size. I don't know exactly what that means, but
We do have forms.
so thank you all for coming out, and I'm gonna pass it on to whoever chooses to speak next.
All right. Again, I want to welcome you all. This has kind of been unprecedented. Sorry for all the activity and the energy around it, but I'm glad you're all here. Usually we only have maybe 25, close to 30 folks. So I'm glad you're taking an interest. Right, wrong, or indifferent. I'm glad to see you. So I'll start to pick this thing off. Oh, okay, we are gonna put this on a website. We're gonna try to make that happen and connect it, so people that aren't here, at least they have privy to a preview and see what's going on. So we're all on the same page. All right. Again, my name is Lou Decker. I'm the president and current HOA. And I'm going to go through the operating budget so we understand what's transpired in the neighborhood, why the increase in dues. And I understand everybody's affected with inflation and the prices of everything. I understand why do we have to increase dues and all that. So, I mean, nothing's, going over my head, and I'm not misunderstanding anything. I know everybody has certain situations in their family, and we just make adjustments as we can. Okay, but we need to understand what we're bang for the buck. Okay, increase from dues is 144 for the year of 2022, and they went to 158, and everybody got notification to that, hopefully. For all 86 houses in Lakeview, which equals overall $13,588 for our operating budget of 2023. That's an increase from $1,238.84 in 22, leaving a difference of actually increase of $1,204. That increase is basically $100 for our electricity, and we have increased that a little bit because we put 2 new lights in on the back of Lakeshore Drive, one at Lakeshore Drive and Golden Pond, and then one on the curve where it was always a little dark for people. So they have more light to see in that area. Now, those lights are LED, so if you're not familiar with them, want to go see them, they're on the back side, again, on Lakeshore Drive. Eventually, Columbia Power and Water will be coming through and replacing those lights as the old lights, their parts get done away with or used up. And if most of the new subs are getting the new lights. Now, that would be a cost difference right now of about $5 per light, in which we have 9 old lights. So that'll be a cost savings coming back to us whenever that comes about. We like that $900 for office supplies, $474 for management fees, and $300 increase on our insurance and bond. That's a big jump, but across the board, insurance has really picked up. That leaves us an amount to put back in our savings of $919, or to do what we need to do with in regards to any activities in the sub. Now I want to take and go on before I make any motion on that. Just kind of talk about the improvements, which I've already spoke of, and that's the security lights on Lakeshore Drive and Golden Pond. The other thing I'd like to present. I know there's been some energy in regards to activities on the common ground, improving the common ground. I'm just gonna throw it out there. How many of you would like to see a dock on the common ground? Raise your hand. It's just a look at energy level. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hands high, please. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. One vote per household.
One per household. Sorry, hold on, just real quick.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay, that kind of gives me
17, 18,
18. Okay,
18,
that kind of gives me a feel
19.
for as I go forward.
This is just a little less than half.
Okay. Well, I've taken the liberty to gather 3 different bids from a couple from local dock builders and one out of Florida that builds docks. And that range is roughly around 4,000 to 13,000, just to let you know the cost. Now I've quoted basically a floating dock of 6-foot ramp by 4 foot. And then the actual dock would be a 6-foot by 10-foot with boat cleats. You can use it to, it'll be a floating dock. You can use it to, boats and kayaks and fishing off of and so on and so forth. So that's a start. So you know how much it costs. They're not cheap. Bob will attest to that. He put in one not too long ago. It cost him, I think, $7,000 if I'm not mistaken, right, Bob? So in that, speaking about that, I would like to take and have a dock committee formed. I've got a sign-in sheet there. And that will be to basically to set the dock up or oversee the setup. Some of the quotes are setup fee, or you can do it yourself. So we'll have to look at that, pick up on what you want to do from that committee.
Hey, Lou, quick question, you mentioned a ramp, would that be replacing gravel with a concrete ramp into the water, or?
It's like a bridge.
Okay, so.
It'll be attached by concrete and then go out to the floating dock. Yeah.
Lou, maybe I don't understand, but we didn't have a majority, did we? So it didn't-
No,
So are we gonna portion it anyway?
well,
No,
We need a majority. You have to vote.
I think form a committee. I think you'd be
I
okay.
would like to form a committee on that to
Just
see.
form a committee, you don't have to have a majority vote.
Yeah.
The board
I just
will set
kind of
up
did the legwork to kind of kick things off, to see what the interest was and go from there. And like I said, I got a sign up sheet. If you're interested, after the meeting, come up and sign on if you want to be a part of it. And that's also setting up, overseeing setup or whatever the case may be, and doing some kind of a maintenance plan. Okay, because I'm going to tell you right up front, it's going to take maintenance because the geese are going to love you for it. Okay.
Mhm.
The next proposal, I'd like to take and reinstate the landscape committee. Okay, reason being, a handful of us have been taking care of things, but we'd like to generate more of an interest. And have people take more interest and take part in keeping up the front entrance and whatever else is going on, maybe take a handful of people and pick up the common ground before the mowing crew starts in around the 1st of April. Those kind of activities. Is anybody interested in doing that?
Already done. Like any time.
Yep, I know, Warren, and I appreciate the effort.
What's the landscape committee would be, what, mowing?
No, they're gonna just take and keep the front end up, mulch the trees, do whatever mulching and weeding and all that kind of activity that we've been doing. just kind of reform that committee and have somebody oversee that activity.
Would that also take the place of the mowing, so get rid of the almost $4,000 of budget?
No,
Because you cut your leg mowing, you sue the HOA. But if you clean up the common area and the pond break leg, you can't sue them.
Your medical would cover, the HOA medical could possibly cover you because of those. Because you got hurt on common ground.
Anything that we use outside services, we gotta make sure that they're insured, licensed, bonded. I mean, you gotta make it legit, for 7 or 8 years, I cut the common ground myself. Never took a penny for gas or anything, but as I get older, I don't wanna do that no more. But
I mean, we may have enough people.
well, we tried that at one time to get volunteers, but,
I have noticed,
yeah. I mean,
several times, and I know that front several times. And
Yep.
I'd do it again.
Yep.
I wouldn't, I can't say it on myself because we
Yeah.
tried.
yeah, but we tried to put lists together. and
Yeah.
one
Committee
week-
to form a schedule. I mean, it's your money, so if not people want to do it, let the committee put a schedule together, and then, as long as everyone holds true to their end of the bargain, then yes, we can save that money.
But the price that we're getting it cut for today, what's it, $100 a cut?
Yeah, it honestly,
I tell you what,
there's no, I'm not even gonna ask any other contractors to bid your property. Because you will be shocked. You think that's bad, honestly. Just because I know the industry, their blades have doubled, their belts have doubled, their fuel has doubled. They're having trouble getting parts, just like everyone else right now, for blades and mowers and weird parts, electronic stuff. And so they're all struggling, everyone's struggling to be out of business, finding labor. So, all that comes into play, and obviously everyone's into this to make money, so when you throw it in, it's a really good price, compared to 44 other properties that Acclaim manages, Spring Hill to Franklin to Nashville to Columbia. I don't know every contract, but I'm telling you that one that you have is
I know they could cost $400 if they charge for the one.
per cut.
What exactly are they cutting?
they're cutting the common ground,
Year young.
and they're cutting along the front entrance,
Right, yeah.
around the trees and a little up in front on that curve. Yeah.
That is, those two places.
Yep. Well, they do cut a piece of ground between Nathan and Ken. They do cut that, I believe.
But we don't pay.
We don't pay for that,
I
but
think-
that's
I
a
think it's
private
conversation-
contract.
I think it's a conversation to have to save money because obviously one of my yard is one of the part of what they cut, so that can be easily cut by me, which I've done it a few times. We've had that conversation, but we can, I think that's a conversation to have to save some money.
It's $20 for the entrance and $80 for the common ground.
Each time.
Each time, yes.
How long are we locked into that price? Is it a contracted price?
Well, I talked to Mr. Grooms, who's the gentleman that does our activity currently. And he did not state that he was going to increase any prices at the time of our
But you said
conversation.
We're not locked into that price.
No, we're not locked into it. I hate to say it, I think he does as a favor to me because he cuts all the grass for Atmos Energy in Middle Tennessee. And we're probably spending over $200,000 a year for those services. And he just, I think it's more or less a favor.
You make it mad, our price.
Warren, you got a
We're
question?
not gonna make him mad because we gotta have, yeah.
That breakdown.
Well, it's less than $100 a cut.
It depends on the number of cuts,
How often do they cut?
Every
7 to 10 days average.
Yeah, roughly they usually cut and arrive either Monday or Tuesday in our neighborhood. And they're pretty much on time, early in the morning, about 7 o'clock, I think we.
It takes 35 seconds. to do it on mine.
Yeah,
One pass.
Yeah.
One
no,
pass.
let me go on with and finish up here on this particular issue. The reason I'm asking and giving us an opportunity to attempt to save some money and kind of use the activity as just kind of a get together and work together as neighbors and neighborhood and just get some little venture done if you want to do that. I had him quote me a price of, on doing that and taking over that job. And that quote came back as $150 a month. So, you know, either we can take it on as a neighborhood or we pay somebody to do it.
150 to do what? I'm sorry.
That's take care of the front boulevard there and mulch the trees and weed and do all that kind of stuff. Trim the bushes, fertilize the bushes, weed, and so on. No, they would be getting the mulch.
Who has done it? It looks out that it's not pruning and the boxwoods look like they're dying. Two trees you've already done.
Yeah, I know they're not looking real good. I'm not sure why.
I think the answer is to keep buying more. Take care of them.
Well, I understand that. I agree.
Probably need a soil test to determine why
Yeah.
it's dying right there.
Well,
The
that-
next set will do it.
Yeah. That's,
It might be something.
The summer goes like this over there and I watch it destroy.
the soil over there is not real good soil. I can tell you because I planted a lot of the stuff over there.
There are
And
irrigating-
Kenny and the guys here planted all that up there.
Yeah, if you can get a couple inches of good soil and irrigation, you'll get it to grow, but it's a big investment, because then you got weed and feed and, you know, especially with the common Bermuda around here trying to take over birds.
I'll send that sheet around if anybody's interested. Please put your name on that.
I think the thing that was back there was like a sprinkler system that looked like Keller had started to put in back.
Years ago, yeah. Yeah, I've been digging, I've dug pipes out of there.
Yeah, so
on it,
I looked at everything. I mean, I know I never saw it work in the 30 years that we did. ours.
No.
You would have to, no doubt you would have to make boards under the road to get it to the center out of aisle. Then you'd have to have the power company come in and set a power pole. And
Backflow, irrigation, backflow,
Slow irrigation.
water tap, the,
You're talking thousands and thousands of dollars.
Okay, well, I- what was the first thing where she got right? There was some kind of, were they pine trees, not pine trees, what were they? When we first.
Sometimes there's some type of every.
Arborvitae,
Yeah.
yeah.
They were there, take a while.
Yeah, for a while, then they got out of hand because, you know, Mr. Heller never, you know.
Somebody dropped their phone.
Oh, probably.
Okay, with that being said, I'm gonna take a and make a motion to pass our current budget. Unless there's further conversation. Yes, Warren.
Around the $120 mark, I remember. The letter said that was about. Foresaw no reason to keep increasing. So I failed to see why they keep going up. But we don't get any additional service. What is the reason that we keep raising the dues?
Well, to pay, I just went through some of that, to pay everything that's increased.
Not needs, they're not short.
Yes, we have roughly $15,000 to $16,000 in bank.
If you look, take a second and look at the December, the balance sheet. It was a $1,600 loss last year. Okay, and we were only 400, let me look at it, we were only $400 short on bringing our income in the budget. So that $400 drops it down to $1,200, okay? But then you look at, we had to remove beavers and otters and stuff from the dam that were starting to tear apart the dam. Well, we can pay that, but how are you going to pay it back? So basically, here's what I'm saying. The cost to remove those animals, what you pay this time. You do that 10 times, you have zero money left in your bank. 10 beaver and wildlife entrapment things will bankrupt you or bring you to zero based on the last cost.
I've been here for 15 years. First time I've ever heard anything about beavers and otters.
Tell everyone to stop developing around us and pushing them towards our water, source of water and our habitat. I can't control that.
I've lost a bunch of trees around the lake shore from those beavers. Like in the past,
Yeah, just go to the lakes and we go around every group and just tap it.
Yes, they will be ready, available. We made a switch management company. We did a claim bid in September. All the financials, once they are approved by the board, they will be on the portal. Last night I counted. Thank you for the 21 people that read my letter and signed up for the portal. I appreciate it. And for those that signed up on our app, thank you too. You get to see basically what I gave you right here. Income and expense. No, you can see those at my office. You can set up a time to come to my office, pay a fee. Excuse me, sir. The state law states you make an appointment to come inspect the records. We have a minimum. It's 2-hour minimum. You pay that fee. It's 10 cents a copy for every copy that you want. I have to personally stand by your side. When you ask me, I have to have somebody go get it, bring it back, and I have to stand there for 2 hours watching you and then have someone make copies of everything you want.
That's your job. You signed up for it.
You know, but you're not letting me finish.
You're not letting me.
It's not you're telling me what my job is, man. You're a contractor telling me what my job is, the contract that the board of directors signed.
All right. Anybody else have a question? I've seen a question, sir. John,
I see 250 for the landscaping, per month. We're talking potentially
150 more.
in addition to.
Yeah.
What is the existing 250 cover?
Yes, sir.
What is the existing 250 include, if not the 150?
The front end and the cutting of the common
Just a
ground.
mowing, sir.
Just a moment.
It's just a mowing.
Okay.
Just a mowing. Mowing in the weed.
We cut out the front end because.
No, I can do that. I can do the front end right now.
Yeah, they can do the front ends. Already talked to Mr. Gatter.
And they're, if you form the committee, I have some suggestions for the committees too. I mean, that's reasonable, that's workable.
We'll look at
The
it.
committee, because I think they,
We'll look at it, Dave.
Yeah.
What I'm unclear is the 250 and the 150. The 150 was for the front mowing and the.
No.
No, that's for the island and the other all the common area, then all the mulch, all the shrubs.
And mulching of the
trimming,
trees
all
on
the mulch
both
around the
ends.
trees, and then all the pre-emergence and chemicals for that area.
In addition
And then the
to
flowers,
what the 250
yeah, the flowers and all of that, yes.
Yeah, that's,
If you give the management company for our $4,000, is there something on paper that describes what they do, their services they provide?
I'm sure there is one.
Well, where is
And Rodney can tell you that. Yeah, Rodney can tell you that. But right now, I'm going to make a motion to pass the budget as it stands currently.
Second,
Thank you.
favor, all in favor?
Budget approved.
The board's the only one has to approve the budget. You-
Warren,
Second, all in favor? Not all opposed?
opposed.
Sorry, you lost. Next item of business.
We'll take a hand vote. Okay, we take a count.
Warren,
Decision, it's the board's decision. You lost the room.
no, you
Keep
cannot
pushing
get rid of the
it.
board.
You, sir, have been in my, you, sir, you have been in my office, talked to my business partner on 2 occasions, right or wrong.
Yes, sir.
How long? How much time in my office, sir?
Well,
You know what my responsibilities are.
You can allow him to.
You were in my office for over 2 hours, sir. You know what my responsibilities are.
All right, Rodney.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Point of order.
Yeah, point of order. Yeah, point of order. All right, hey. Listen up, listen up.
Hey,
You do have to say so. Okay, Rodney, go ahead and go through those.
The December financials.
Yes,
All right, we ended the year 15.
Stop. I'm the grumpy butthole here. Everybody knows it. So stop. Oh, yeah.
thank you, Warren.
December 31st, end of year financials, operating account, $15,331.92. I discussed the net loss last year of $1,600. Basically, that was due to the pest control of removing those animals. Income and expense, you see
board.
that this page here. We brought in less, $427 less than dues. We had some dues that came in late. Currently, there's only one homeowner that has an account due, and it's just a mistake coming back from legal.
Okay.
The legal fee wasn't added on, so management fee, contract, office supplies, over budget. Because I don't know how much your office supplies you're gonna use each month, so you only pay for what you use.
Why are you spending $1,000 on office supplies? What is the money spent on specifically?
Sending out statements, sending out violations, sending out annual statement.
You pay the management company.
Also, I'm supposed to pay for all that for free, guys. That's not how I run my business, I don't know how you run, since you have a degree in engineering, how you run yours, but anyhow, moving on. Huh? I'm tired of it, man. He's been in my office, dude, for his life, but I'm not gonna keep interrupting. This is a business meeting. This is a business corporation. I am the registered agent for this, through the state for this business. I'm trying to explain the financials. Hey, board. I'm sorry, I'm reading.
Okay,
You know you're paying for the rest of the contract now.
Whatever, goodbye. You're fired.
we'll talk to you later. Rick.
Someone has just quit on this.
As long as you're gone, I don't care.
Come on, let's go. Ready? Let's go.
Bye, liar.
All right, let's bring it to order, please.
I do have one thing to say. When we started this, we took care of it all of ourselves, and it was really aggravating. There's a lot of work. And the one poor lady that was in charge of all the finances, I don't know how many hours a week she worked on it. But it was, and we can't pay her because she lives in here. So we hired it out. And apparently nobody's happy with that, which I understand, but still, I don't think we legally can take care of the finances ourselves and pay somebody to do it. I don't think we legally can.
I just like
No, you
to,
can't.
I appreciate your comment. I just had this. I get a few do a lot. Because I was one of the guys that helped start a little league. And a few did a lot. I don't have an issue with it being outsourced. I really don't. But as someone who came here to this meeting and hadn't been many since we took over the HOA, that's the last time I was involved. This crowd is big for a reason. I'm not against outsourcing it, although it looks like you're gonna have to find another guy. But I really didn't appreciate the way he was treating the residents of this
I
neighborhood,
understand,
by which he's contracted.
understand,
And
and I can't agree more.
as this meeting goes on, that the reason why you have the turnout that you do is a lot of the residents don't like the tone of which the board is interacting with the residents. That guy was totally out of line.
Understand,
This gentleman is out of line.
understand.
Now, I've never been to a board meeting since the first 2 years that we reorganized and took it from Ellen. So I've been out of it.
Understand.
That is not a great representative for our organization.
Yeah, he's,
And I'm not gonna question.
well, he's been having a problem. He's been having a medical problem.
It's like.
I'm just saying, I know Rodney pretty well. He's been having some medical issues that he's been having to deal with.
3 acres unacceptable.
Yep.
We make up this neighborhood, not them. You should be representing us, not him.
That's right. Amen.
Well,
And the reason why you have this crowd today.
he is an
is
acting
because
agent.
A lot of us don't believe you're representing us the way we want to be represented. So I don't need to make a motion. Thank you for hearing me. that guy was out of line.
Yes.
And I'd
Okay.
like you guys to proceed with your meeting so we can get to the question and answer part.
Okay, I
Because
agree.
I have a couple of them I would like answered.
Okay,
Thank you, Rob.
yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I'm new in this neighborhood, live on Golden Pond.
Yep.
This is not my first rodeo with the homeowners association. And every homeowners association I have been in has had a management company. And I'm gonna tell you, everybody hates management companies. But in my experience of over 30 years of being parts of part of HOAs, the management company has never had a voice like that gentleman just did. I didn't know who he was. I didn't know who he was.
Yeah.
And for him to be talking to to the residents of this homeowners association that way,
Yeah.
I agree.
He
That
took
was
over your
totally unprofessional. And
I agree.
you know, you can make all the excuses that you want. Bottom line is.
No, it's a fact.
un-
It's not an excuse. It's a fact.
Yeah.
It's a fact.
So, when I got one email when I arrived here from somebody in the office that I did not see. And when I finally responded back, I got zero. And if we're paying $300 a month for a management company that is supposed to represent you,
Mhm.
to take the burden off of you
Mhm.
because of all these other things that you have to do,
Mhm.
then they need to be responding to us.
I
because
can't
they
agree
do
more.
work For us.
But see, I don't know that. And I don't know what I don't know.
Right, and that, I don't even, at that point, I even received anything as to who they talked to. If I would have known, I told you guys, would have had no problem telling you.
Like, yeah, so,
And-
when we were moving in, they sent us some stuff. And
Yeah.
responded, they never once responded.
And
So there's.
well, this is the first time I'm hearing this, so the
Yeah.
feedback is good. I appreciate it. And that'll help us look for somebody more palatable to fill our needs and do our thing that we need to have done.
Is it possible, the board makes the decision, but is it possible that the residents can be, privy to this information when beforehand and still acting instead of acting? Same with the fine policy.
I would like nothing more to do those things. And I'm not, let me speak more. I want to phrase this appropriately. What I've intended to do, this board has intended to do, is actually what's just happened in front of us. And that's to get you folks in a room together so we can all talk about some of the issues that we face as a neighborhood. And like I said before, we can't do a whole lot if we don't have some sort of quorum, have good, solid, constructive discussion, and come to some sort of resolution. Okay, we're all adults, we're all human, we're all neighbors, we have some things in common, we've been through life thick and thin. And we have a variety of experiences.
I think we've got.
I would just, my question would be, when did we vote to give 7 members of the board?
Five.
full authority? So if you want to wait until question comes or, that's the problem. I don't think, first of all, I never get anything from anybody. I got this, and that was, secondly, I don't mind that there's a board who's running everything, but I never got a vote. I was never
Okay.
asked. I've been here 24 years. And I was never asked, do you want to have a board? So that's the problem, I think.
Well,
Really.
let,
So, like this thing in here, we're gonna vote on fines.
let me
This was
stop it right there.
This was taken on your own, on August 23rd, or August, like, we didn't even know that was happening.
Yeah.
So I thought,
In secret.
Can I even be legal to change the PCRs without a vote? So I don't know what's legal and what isn't.
No, not necessarily. Not,
I don't think that you're dealing with the issue. And the issue is, who decided 5 lives were going to be present or something?
well, it's in our bylaws. It's clearly stated in our bylaws. You can go, you have to have at least 5, and you can go up to 7,
Well, I don't know when that came to be.
okay?
I don't really.
That's Tennessee law.
It came to be when Mr. Heller set up the original HOA.
And we'll fix those things. That's kind of why we're here. Yeah, we want, when you don't have but a handful of people, it's kind of hard to understand what people want.
Transparency.
And we understand what, and that may mean something different to every one of us. Okay, when you use terminology, what does that mean to you
Well, I'll give you an
personally?
example. We would have preferred as a group, I think, if you polled them, to know that you planned on instituting a penalty and fine system prior to doing it or while it was during the decision-making process. So that would be my example of transparency.
Okay.
There's a world of technology out there. We have a website that's not updated. You can post all that stuff in a public forum on the website. You choose not to. Therefore, it's lack of transparency. There's an example for you of my.
Okay, okay.
Um,
Everybody agree with that?
yeah. I'd like to know how many new homeowners here received the CCNRs when they closed on their property.
Well,
That's up to the real estate company and your closing agent. It's not up to the LakeView HOA to do that. It's supposed to be included in your.
Mr. Blackburn.
That,
If you remember the first part of the year, I had Rodney send everybody, not the whole package of your bylaws and the CCRs, but I did have the CCRs sent out to you
How did you have that sent out?
in the mail.
I didn't receive anything.
Okay.
I didn't receive anything. Our dues are going up. So I don't know his savings.
And what's your name?
See, I'm Jennifer Conley, you know what I mean?
Okay, yeah, I know you. You live right on Sabin Way.
Unfortunately.
Really?
I've not. So I don't know. if it's
Interesting.
our-
We got some holes to fill.
But also because I was like, no, we're saying you're okay, this is really not this, really not this, so I had to.
And I can understand your plight. No information is leaving you in the dark.
Correct.
Oh, sorry. You have Blackburn, Mr. Blackburn?
I did, we're going on 2 years. I did get a copy of closing, so that part worked. I'm not sure I've got the latest copy though. That's my problem because
There was an addendum,
there's,
more in layman's terms.
right.
Oh,
So there's a,
Yeah.
there's a section that's dated 2014. And it calls out exhibit A, which then there's an addendum that seems to be redundant, but it contradicts the first part at that time.
Yeah,
It's not labeled exhibit A. That exhibit A, that second part.
there's some things that need to be tweaked in there, and I had talked to Rodney about it, is to getting a group of folks together, going through and reconstituting some things and more meaningful language, so we don't have those particular issues that is confusing.
That was my suggestion, because the second half includes the architectural guidelines, contradicts the architectural guidelines in the first half.
Yes, it does.
And so I'm not sure which one we're supposed to abide by, when there was a conflict. Is it the second half? or the first half? That was my.
It's the second half,
So the second half. Okay.
second half for the most part, yes.
Right, so
Everybody did what they wanted.
Well, that's,
and the second half is-
in a nutshell, that's kind of why, that's kind of understanding some of the issues, some of the thought processes we have. Some of the resistance to what some of the things the board is trying to do. And simply put, we just want people to take care of their homes in a proper manner. And if you can't take care of your homes, shout out. What kind of help do you need?
You addressed my suggestion, that it's gonna be maybe a committee form to go through and make one.
Yeah,
smooth-
yeah.
Because we're, if we're only obeying the second half architectural guidelines, then I understand that.
Those are the easiest to understand and read. Now, from a legal perspective, from what a legal beagle would have to say, that's where we need to make sure those things are tied up.
Because the second half says it's a replacement for the first half.
Yeah.
But it addresses things, it doesn't address things the first half does. But on that as well, the second half is where it does set up, the full structure of the board of directors. But it's the first half that says the association is in charge of instructing the board of directors, what you can do. And that was, I think that's gonna be the concern of this fine structure that's not addressed in the architectural standards. But yet it wasn't an instruction of the association, meaning us, for you to prepare one. And it's not amended, it has to be an amendment to this, which means it has to be passed by 50% plus one.
Plus one.
To go in here.
That's right.
It can't just be mailed out to us. It's expected
Right.
to be enforced. So I'm assuming that when you get to that part, you're making a motion for us to vote on your compliance policy to be part of the CCNRs, which takes 2 meetings after this one.
Right.
Before we can hold it up.
Right.
That's that way.
Right. Or we can take and table that and have further discussion,
Okay,
meaningful discussion. Do we understand?
okay.
Now,
You don't find people until there's a vote on it.
well,
Because
that's what I'm saying by
you have
tabling it.
a vote to make it.
That's what I'm saying, table it. Reduce the energy. Reduce the energy.
Board can't force. There's not much use in having. I don't think we all have a problem with buying. Our problem was in the way that you tried to enforce
Understand?
and in the manner in which you go about trying to enforce it. It's not neighborly at all.
Understand, Warren?
It's
Warren, I
totalitarian.
wouldn't have a problem with it if they didn't have selective enforcement, in which he has discussed with other board members he wanted to do along with the HOA management. He told me that Mr. Decker called them, decided to be enforced on him, not on him. That's for you and for another board member. So that's selective enforcement. Right there, you should be removed from the board for trying to do that.
Well,
Harassment, I'm sending a letter to me, my mailbox isn't painted. When there's 14 other mailboxes in the neighborhood not painted.
no. Time out.
That's harassment.
Dave, time out.
No, that's
Yep.
harassment, Lou.
Yep.
Lou, it's harassment.
The only thing that I asked you to,
It's because you found out that I know people and you don't like me. You came onto my neighborhood, in my yard threatening me, sent me a lawyer, something from a lawyer saying I couldn't build a fence. When I was simply been there trying to tell you that I talked to a lawyer and I can. Because there's other people in the neighborhood that have done it already. You went to a lady down the road and told her that she had her shit grandfather when you didn't even know when it was built.
is,
You did that on purpose to go over there and make sure that I couldn't say anything about it. So stop. Just
No.
stop. I'm gonna do what I want to do on my property. If you touch me, I'm calling the police. If you come out of my property, I'm calling the police. You send me a legal document, I'm calling the police. I'm done. I'm done with everything.
We need you to,
They need to be removed. You need to fix your driveway. Has he received anything from his warning about his driveway?
yes, he has.
Fixed it yet?
no,
But I have to fix mine immediately.
wait, we need you to stay though for a vote. We need you to stay for a vote.
People stop harassing people at the lake, take that sign down. It wasn't approved by anyone.
Agreed.
Just make that stuff up.
No, no.
No, you did it to stop one girl from going down and voting.
No,
You went there and harassed her.
point of order.
I know there's people that go down there, aren't supposed to get down there. I understand that. I understand. I've tried to sit there and say, let me help you with the security system. I will not allow it to happen. Let's put gates up there. I understand. It costs money. I understand that. But to make, where are they at? Mr. Opals and his wife and the next neighbor, I understand they don't want people running down there. I understand that. But when you look back there and see it's somebody's daughter and you call the police on them, or you go over there and harass them about that, where's your pass?
No, you're wrong. It was dark.
No, that one
It
time,
was dark.
One
That's
time.
the only time we called them.
no, it's not.
The only time we called them.
You made it. I'm not arguing. I'm not mad. I understand.
Oh, I'm mad.
Huh?
I'm mad.
I understand why you guys called, but I'm not always mad. I'm just tired of being bullied and freaking discriminated against. me.
Do we even still have a quorum? Maybe we need to adjourn.
Yeah.
Or-
Yes, ma'am.
Volunteers are working
They-
so hard.
they-
I understand what you're saying, but
I
we're
volunteered.
where if we're all gonna be free. I mean, Yeah, this guy is volunteering. What do you think his blood pressure is doing?
I volunteered for 4 years in a row and they did not allow me to do the board because I went phone out. Don't even let me get on the thing.
Dave, we have a voting process. That's all I can tell you.
Yes.
We are-
All right, have one meeting.
I apologize. I'm sorry. Should not have
Thank you.
talked off. I do listen. I can hear. Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry. I'm.
All here. And you know what? It's not perfect, he's just volunteering.
But there's.
Right.
Perfect.
I don't know. You want to.
No.
Thank you. Thank you. Again, please reduce the energy, okay?
I apologize. Go back down. You do not.
Now, our whole process, we could do one of two things. We could give everybody a list of things that the board, based on our documents, a list of things that may be subject to violations. Or we can kind of start slow and start peeling it back. Okay, I think everybody in the neighborhood has seen some things turn around. Okay, it took us a while to get to where we are. It will take a little ways to get us back, a little work, a little effort. Just like taking it and making sure the curb is clean and neat. Okay,
Edges their property.
but
I care if they cut the grass,
take
that's the
a,
minimum.
but take a look at your competition. Take a look at the competition just right across the street. What I'm saying is if you put your house up for sale and then you got one next and the other neighborhood, people are gonna do comparisons. That's how realtors do.
Did all of you people buy,
Okay.
did you not buy in our neighborhood with the grass growing out over the curb? I don't see where it deterred you from purchasing.
What I'm saying is, let's try to make a conscious effort to keep it nice and neat, our houses clean, our houses fixed.
If you would speak to people like that in the neighborhood like you're doing now, there wouldn't be this many people. We would not have as much problem.
Absolutely.
We're offended at the manner in which you are trying to do it.
I'm just trying to talk to you. Yes.
Like you were saying about that, my house ain't even up for sale, and I've had umpteen offers on my house.
So, it's hard my yard not.
And I'm just saying, if I'm getting that, and I'm not even thinking about it, it really don't matter what the curve looks like now.
Well,
Because the offers, trust me, the offers are very low.
oh, I know. Our subdivision, book value roughly is about $50 million. If you take all that.
Comparable to the houses that were built mostly.
Yeah, I understand that. I understand. Yes, our date range in our neighborhood starts at 1936 and goes to 2023. That's pretty big spectrum.
Yeah, but you only.
Yeah, but it's in our, yeah. When I'm speaking from data and facts and details, I look at all that stuff.
I agree with, I mean, it's very grateful for a board and what you guys are doing in keeping the neighborhood clean. I've also lived in the neighborhood for 20 something years. It is the vibe the vibe you're giving off right now is not the same thing that's given off on a daily basis in the neighborhood. And I feel like it's totally crushing the actual, who cares what the resale is? The vibe of the neighborhood has gotten mean and hateful.
And that's, I think, is the concern. But you guys, if you guys talk like this all year long, it would be wonderful. But this is not what's happening. Saying we'll help you is not the same thing as giving off, because the copies over there in the corner, that's, we have a great street. No one's ever complained about each other, we all get along, but yet they are being harassed. My daughter's the one that I know it's gonna be like controversy, but he's been being harassed. He's the sweetest girl on the planet. With the nicest dog.
Oh, I know,
Well,
I've met him, and talked to her.
I'm saying, it's fine, it'll be a pointless argument right now. What happens on a daily is not the same vibe that you're giving off. So I'm concerned more about, we can say what we want here, but when we get back in our neighborhood, it's not nice. So the lady over there that was saying, like, we need to be respectful to you guys, I agree, and I appreciate your time, because I can't do it. But we need a better, I keep saying vibe, but that's all a better vibe.
The board is legally supposed to foster community and goodwill, and
Yes.
faith and love that you foster hostility to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And as far as transparency and goodwill, trying to sneak that fine policy in, is not trustworthy.
Understand, Warren, but we kind of use
And
it,
I do appreciate the board because it is a job. You have to treat it like a business and it's governed by corporate law.
that's right,
And most of us in here, I don't have time.
that's right.
So I do appreciate you doing it, all of you, but, and it's our fault too, for our apathy and not being involved. So I would hope going forward, we can all get along a little better.
I'm always available. I'm retired. I walk up and down that subdivision. I help numerous neighbors. Some will attest to that. I take care of their homes when they're gone. I take care of their homes when they're sick. I make sure few people are fed, taken care of. I do that for people.
Move on to the agenda.
So, yes,
On the subject of the covenants and the board and the relationships and the purpose of the board, which I appreciate. I've been on board. I was on the first board of a brand new neighborhood and got fired by those two members of the board because they were trying to do something that was financially against the covenant. So I've been on both sides of this. So I appreciate what y'all doing. I know you guys can find it. I'd like to make a motion or suggestion or whatever that we table the fine policy, set up a committee to go through the 22 pages that I believe are the existing covenants and restrictions. I think they probably could be condensed where they're not contradictory, overlapping down to probably 10 or 12 in plain language. Have a lawyer review that, because I know that's what you have to do, because you have to get it registered. But get it weeded down to where we can plain language understand
what our
you do,
responsibilities
what
are,
you do,
what our
what's
responsibilities are.
expected to make our neighborhood nice and presentable for us and for future. And then come back at another meeting, possibly it has to be a call meeting, so we can't probably wait another year. Have another meeting,
Well, we can't do a meeting this month,
right, we couldn't get this done in months.
right? Well, I'm just saying.
But come back maybe, toward the summer, mail it out and then have a discussion over. Do the covenants then reflect what we would like to see, but we, the board, we people and you board to work together.
I agree, yes, sir.
Is there any way we could have, more meetings where we don't have to have a company pass out the paperwork for us, where we can actually get paperwork handed to us? Like he's saying, do that, but have a meeting, hey guys, we're gonna go over this.
Yes, he just requested that.
What I'm saying is, instead of having the company do it for us, have us have the. Well, whatever. Company, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But have more like.
Understanding, yeah, understanding.
Meetings.
Yeah. I mean, there's been things kicked around there's been things kicked around, like several of you talked about doing a potluck. And all we need is somebody to step up and coordinate that. And it doesn't just fall on your shoulders, it can fall on several people's shoulders to coordinate those kind of activities. You don't always have to look to the board to do anything, other than tell us what you need in regards to, help, what do you want us to fund? The meat, what part of that whole process do you want us to fund? Yes, sir.
So rather than mailing things out to everyone, why don't you just do a PDF on the neighborhood page and just on your exit sign, just say, new update, check your page. And rather, we're not mailing it and that way everyone.
Well, here's,
You don't get updates or-
we have a little bit of dilemma. Because Barb, if some of you know Barb, she still has the keys to that operating system.
Okay.
And I'd have to sit down and talk to her and see what the board needs to do to get things back on track. And how we need to work together
You
to
can set up
plug all
a
that stuff in.
Facebook page.
We can do
Only
that.
available to.
Yeah, we can work all that.
We can do that.
Morris, excuse me,
Barb, the
please, one
person.
meeting.
Barb is the only person with access to the website.
Yeah, she's kind of the keeper of that whole thing.
Shouldn't the board have access to that? You can access the website.
You can access it.
You just can't put nothing on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
a trivial thing. Yeah. There's a lot of people in the room running our website.
You need administration rights.
Yeah.
It's a trivial.
Right, yeah, that's what I'm
She
saying.
made it from her company. They had a computer store.
Right.
So that's.
Yeah.
she had it done.
Yeah.
It's not. No, it's not.
Well, it's just conversation and pulling whatever triggers we have to pull and making it ours.
I've dealt with neighbors, I've been on committees, I've worked with the city, I was on the planning commission. The biggest problem that people have is communication.
Understand?
With their communication, you're gonna eliminate 80% of the problem.
Yeah.
So like you wanna have more problems. People.
I don't want to have a lot of problems. I want to keep our lives simplistic. I want us to be able to get along. I want us to have good conversations about issues that concern us. Because collectively, we have better ideas than just one or two.
Is Barbara still in the picture as far as managing?
No.
No,
If I was able to get a hold of Barbara, I can see how the website's built right now. If I was able to get a hold of her and get keys to that, would that help?
yes.
Okay.
When Lou was talking about having, a board to get together, my recommendation would have one person on each street be part of that board, be part of that committee. That way you've got everybody.
Representative.
That way if, Rob, if you're on, was it Lakeshore Drive? Lakeview Road, you would represent the people at Lakeview. Chuck, you might represent the people on Blue Lane, in Saving Way and, Roland Line. When we started this thing, I think it's going on 10 years ago.
It'll be a
We
lot.
knew that number one, we wanted to take it over from Mr. Heller. Because Mr. Heller wasn't doing nothing. And I was paying Mr. Heller at that time $60 a year for,
Nothing.
yeah, for nothing, because he wasn't doing nothing. And we had opposition, to start the HOA back up. I mean, we gotta keep it going because it's part of the law, by law. We gotta keep it going. You don't want to do away with it.
Property values will decrease if we don't have an HOA.
Yeah, it will, and but there's things that we have to pay the insurance on the lake. And we got $1 million liability policy if somebody gets on there and they drown. And that keeps.
Or get hurt.
And what that does, that keeps every one of us in this room from being sued, that one insurance policy. We have to pay for the lights because we're in the county. And I think, most of the lights are at the corners and the dark spots where we just added here not long ago. And so we want some lights in there so people can walk at night. 6 years ago, I think it was about 6 years ago, the common ground was 1/4 of an acre for the new people that moved in the last 10 years, or 5 or 6. It was 1/4 of an acre. We had a right of way to get to that 1/4 of an acre that we didn't own. So what we did before Mr. Heller passed away, we was able to get with him. Where Buddy lives, the common ground was right behind his house. That's where the common ground was at, the 1/4 acre. So we cut a deal with Mr. Heller to do a land swap. So we went from a 1/4 of an acre to an acre and a half. That's what we did. And the only thing it cost us was to get it resurveyed. That's all we had to do, to make it legal. There was no money given to anybody. We just had to pay the surveyors to come out, and make that survey. So now we've got an acre and a half of land versus, a 1/4 of an acre. And to me, that was big. A 1/4 of an acre is not much bigger than this room. So, we did what we thought was right at that time. And yeah, there's been things that's gone on over the years that, the people's not happy. And this is the biggest crowd we've ever had. We used to meet in people's barns and garages and stuff like that right there, just to have meetings. And we did that because it was free. So, I think we paid like $150 to get this room today.
160,
$160.
$2
Yeah.
per
Yeah.
family.
So everything you do costs money, when, yeah, we could get a committee together and do away with, cutting the grass, paying somebody to do it, but we know they're gonna be here every week to do that. They're gonna keep it cut down, if they come on Monday and it's raining, then they're gonna work it out somewhere in their schedule that week to get back over there, and cut that grass, where as a board, people, whoever's week it is, something might happen, you might get sick. And it might rain all week, except for one day, but on that one day that it's pretty, you got other stuff that you want to do that day besides cut grass. And, that's the reason we went to the,
That is cheap, and that ground up there.
That is cheap.
Very easy. to
that
cut
is
anyway.
cheap, and,
A lot of rock.
I cut it for about 8 years by myself, the common ground, not the entrance, but the common ground. No telling how many sets of blades I went through. That common ground really not good, smooth. It's rough as all get out. And, we were doing things to try to save money, and we still want to do that, but sometimes you got to pay for something, every once in a while. And there's filings that you got to do with the state every year, to send in documents and stuff like that. And that's one of the main reasons we went to property management, to have somebody to do that. If somebody went 5 years and didn't pay your dues, we got to put a lien on it. And but now what a lien does, even though you've got a lien on your property, don't mean that you got to pay it. Now, when you sell your house, you'll have to pay it because they'll take it out. But what it does, what it does is, when people are not paying their dues, we gotta have money to pay the bills. And, so, that's basically what it comes down to.
We really don't have that as a big issue.
Yeah, the money, the extra money that you're seeing in there. When we had a dam problem, we did an assessment several years ago.
Special assessment.
Yeah. There was a special assessment, which the bylaw said we can do that to fix that dam. But we had to fix that dam. You would have just had a big hole of mud back there is what you would have. And no doubt, the people that live on the lake get more benefit of that lake than anybody. But they also paid a whole lot more money for that lot. But that common ground gives everybody in this room, the boys, the boat, to use it, just like Lou, Buddy, Dan, that live on the lake. You can go out there and use that stuff. You can go out there and use that lake as much as these guys do. But, yeah, they got the luxury. They just walk out their back door, throw a line in where, we gotta hook up the boat, and go back there. But I love it. Believe it or not, I've been here since 1995, and I've only started really using that lake the last 2 years to fish with my kids and my grandbabies.
Can you say retired?
Was that?
next year.
Retired.
Yeah, I'm retired in about 12, 15 more months, something like that, so hopefully I get some more use out of it. But we want to keep it beautiful, we really do. And, going around, talking about the grass on the curb. It does look tacky, it really does. I think everybody in here's got to admit that. But sometimes we'd have to send a letter out, say, hey, cut the grass growing over the curb. We don't care how you edge inside your lot, around your sidewalks and stuff like that. We're just trying to keep the grass off the curbs. And there were 3 or 4 that just had some junk laying out in front of it. And, you might have lived beside that person that had that junk, laying out there, and it's an eyesore, but little things like that. No, they're probably not gonna decrease the values of the property because, we're in the hot, Middle Tennessee is the hottest market. And just, in Tennessee.
You can sell your house
Yeah,
today. That's the average 24 hours turnaround.
Yeah.
I think it's the letters that tell you that it's the nitpicking. It's one thing if somebody hasn't cut their grass in 2 weeks. Yes, but either a letter or maybe even a neighborhood committee or something that reached out to somebody first to make sure that do they need help? And then it's for my,
I agree
Not
with
an
you,
answer,
Joe. Yeah,
but it's for anything around the thing. I think that's nitpicking.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
there's not everybody keeps their house up to the same standard. Not everybody has the same time or the amount of money. But I mean, as long as you're keeping your grass cut and things repaired, you don't have shutters hanging off your house or something like that. Yeah, that's.
And I'm kind of like Lou, if anybody in this room called me and you needed help doing something on your property, I would come help you. I promise.
And I moved in June of '95, and you moved in after, so we've known each other. Same ball field, same church, kids grew up together. And I know that you're that kind of person.
Yeah.
Right? I know that, because I've known you for however long, 95.
Yeah.
But I've got a letter here that I received dated December 16th. It's a little picky stuff. I've got some questions about it. But nobody knocked on my door and said, hey, I'm so-and-so from the board. Can you look into that? Now, I also have a neighbor that did some remodeling. And their kitchen windows 80% smaller than what it was initially. And the siding hadn't been replaced. And the backer fabric is there. I think those are relevant things.
Those are the things I'm talking about.
But no, that's not what's enforced here.
Well, I don't know.
That's
what
not
that
what's
is.
enforced.
I don't know what. that
There's
is.
some legal issues here, because I do want to ask, not about my quote unquote fraction, but the way this letter is worded brings up a lot of legal issues for the board. And a lot of questions about who's doing what, the way this letter is worded. So I've got a few questions, but here's my point. I'm not against the fine system. In fact, for the infraction that I just described to you, $50 isn't going to motivate the people to fix it, in my opinion. So I wouldn't necessarily be opposed for a higher fine. Doesn't that shock you guys?
Well,
Okay, but I'm not that.
in our
But
conversation,
here's the point.
we
Somebody could have
set
knocked on
higher.
my door. I said I'd like to finish,
Yeah, go ahead.
not be interrupted. Somebody could have knocked on my door. And we could have had a conversation about this and resolve it. And we would have a timeline. We would have everything handled with a neighborly conversation. Here's why these people are here. That's not the way you choose to operate. That's not the way this board chooses to operate. That's why this audience is as big as it is. Simply said. I'm going to read this sentence. While inspecting the properties in your community, per the request of the board of directors. Who inspects the homes? The board of directors or Acclaimed Property Management?
When did you receive that?
December the 16th. Now, that's my question. Who inspects the properties? The board of directors, an individual member on the board, or Acclaimed Properties?
Yeah, I'll tell you this, Rob, there was one letter that went out.
A simple question.
And I got a letter, and it kind of ticked me off.
It's a simple question.
Yeah, but it was,
A claim.
that came from a claim.
A claim did.
Did they inspect the property?
Well, what they did, he sent somebody out and I didn't even.
Out of
know
his
about
office.
it. And,
That's a service, that's a service they provide.
Okay, if they're the ones doing the inspection, that's what the letter says.
Mhm.
What is their schedule? What is the frequency of that schedule? And how many people are part of that audit?
well, number one, we have told them not to do that no more.
All right, well,
Because I got a letter, Rob, because
what's the cost of the letter?
my boat was parked on the back of my driveway. I'm sitting there thinking.
I think we just eliminated that.
We eliminated
So
that.
what's the cost of them to come out and do the survey?
It's
Well,
part of
it's
their
in the-
cost.
We don't cost, we didn't pay any extra for it.
No.
It's in their fees.
I'd like to address the second. These inspections are to alert homeowners about possible covenant violations so that they might be corrected. What's a possible covenant violation? It's either a violation, that's why
Or
you
it's
sent me a
not.
letter, it's not.
Yeah. It's not.
What's the appeal process if I don't agree with this and you're gonna assess $1,000 fine or a $25 fine or a 5-cent fine?
You-
Where's the appeal process?
You'd come to the board.
Where's the process document?
Yeah.
It's not, is it?
No, but
You want us to
it
vote
it
on a budget
was.
system that
It-
you
it-
have not taken into consideration with all these other parameters.
Yes,
Correct?
understand.
I vote no. You got a question back there. And I'd be happy to vote yes.
Yes,
I think that's something simple.
we like simple.
We were talking about the common grounds a minute ago. Does it- Do we have a say, or do we, if we want to do something on the common grounds, who do we get in contact with?
For instance, give me an example.
Say, I'm going to. For the logos, and I want to buy a picnic table and set it out there.
You can do that. But
Whose approval do I have to have?
you need to come, you need to let the board know because we manage the funds.
It's not asking.
Warren put out a picnic table a couple of years ago.
What I'm saying.
Two people have used it.
What
that I know of.
What I'm saying is, when we get more information about what we want to do. More about.
Yeah, but here. Let me try to clarify if I may. Each of us own a share of that property. Okay, and if you want to have a party or something going on over there, just let the board know. So we can kind of at least make sure it's clean for you.
That is not in your door. Excuse me, I'm gonna have to-
You can, yeah, you can just knock on my door, I've got an email, call me,
Just you or anybody?
anybody on the board.
No, if you do go to the website that's out there right now, you can send a question in. And it goes to the people on the board. Okay. Yeah, no, you won't,
Supposed
That's
to
the
anyway.
website.
you won't see the answer, you won't, well,
Is that it?
Well, that's gonna be for this, but that should be that, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I was gonna say,
yeah.
just to make sure that we all know the
Yeah.
website to go to.
I just didn't know if there were a lot of picnic tables. I mean, something, I mean, Lowe's had it on sale half the time for $200. If I had an extra $200.
Right,
Put it on here, everyone can use it, and I wouldn't
Right.
care, but I don't wanna get in trouble for putting something there that helps everybody else, and then I get freaking $25, $50 fine saying.
no, the only thing you gotta do is just basically stop by and make sure we have the receipt. And unless you're gonna take it back with you. But, yeah,
Mixed messaging as far as like, some of you would like people to come to your door. Others really don't want anybody on their property to come to their door or anything like that. And I just think, the board is volunteers, from all neighbors, we can all be kind to one another. I agree that there is my dad. I've read a lot of mean comments online. Really, that really makes me sad. I know some of the unkind things that people have said. I hear people talking next to each other, that's fine, but my dad actually does do a lot. And he is a good neighbor. And, he would be willing to do anything for any neighbor that needed him to do that. The reason why he goes to the lake is because there are neighbors that probably appreciate my dad doing that. When they're on their property or things have gone missing,
Lots of people trespass at the lake. I don't really personally like my dad having to do that, but it is something he kind of takes from, he does for other people to make sure that they have their lake pass so that people aren't fishing on our lake that don't need to be. We pay for the lake to be stocked and for our common area to be nice. And so I just ask that everybody be neighborly. If I don't know you, I'm sorry, but I'm Amberly Taylor and, I'm also happy to help if you ever need anything, but I hope that moving forward, everybody can just, love my neighbor.
Well, I just wanted, I've got 3 kids, and my question is, how many of you in here have kids that go to the lake and get, I don't want to say harassed, but they get a little harassed? I want to know how many times you have to see my children before you recognize them.
Yeah.
We've lived here for 20 years.
I recognize
You've seen
most
them
of them.
grow up,
Yeah, I
and
recognize most of them.
every time they go to the lake, it's the same thing.
It's not the asking, it's the manner in which.
Yes.
Yeah. And I appreciate.
You would think after a certain amount of time, you would recognize the faces.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I'll try to,
Just be cognizant that.
yeah, I'll try to
people
back
are
off that.
kids. Treat them as such.
Yeah.
You know, don't, press out, don't, you know, typical, treat them kindly.
Yep.
Because they are growing.
Yep.
And, you know, I like to night fish. I know that wasn't brought before everyone's, there was not a vote brought on that. There was not a vote on the fine. Unless it was one of the documents that some people received and some people didn't. Because I haven't received anything in over a year. Other than the meeting for today. That, I don't know if. Went out what he needed. I just know that I have not received anything and I don't really like things being changed without community approval.
Okay, what I want to take and do is make sure our mailing list is double check our mailing list, because I don't know why we have a glitch. I entrust Rodney to make sure that everything's going to appropriately to the people.
Well, we
And
all
if I
got this
don't-
letter, then we should have all gotten the.
And if I don't hear from you, again, this board is not gonna know until somebody speaks like you are now.
Is Debbie
I don't know
Miller
if I got a problem, I'll fix it.
Debbie Miller, are you here today?
Yes, she's right there. Right there.
We spoke about the new lights. I moved down to the country because I didn't want lights. I want to see the stars. And they put a light right beside another light. And, you know, previously you had to have the approval of the 2 houses beside and the house across the street. Never once was anybody in our area notified or asked if they wanted new lights. So now we have 2 lights side by side that shine in my bedroom. I have a husband that gets up at 2:30 every morning to go to work. So we have to keep everything drawn up in our bedroom. It's not conducive to a happy environment. I would appreciate if you would take that extra light down or have Middle Tennessee Electric, whoever, Columbia Power and Water, take that extra light down since there is an operable light right beside it,
What light are you talking about?
the one on Lake Shore.
On
Right at the
on
creek.
the corner?
Lower.
It's at the creek. They already had an existing light.
Yeah,
They put one up on the very next pole.
yes,
That's super close. Well, it shines right there.
yes, and I did take and talk to Craig, and I did talk to Mindy. Because that
Okay,
that
it's on
area,
Mindy's- It's on Mindy's property,
yes,
which means you have to have my approval, the people beside Mindy on the other side, and the people across the street.
Oh, and
I was never-
corner, we didn't know about the.
yes, yes.
I didn't know about.
We put that light there because that corner
I knew the corner.
is so dark.
She's not talking about that.
And
No, I'm talking about the one on the creek.
yeah, okay,
We weren't notified. We were supposed to be, all the neighbors that surround that light, that will impact, were supposed to be asked if they wanted the light. If one person said no, there was not supposed to be a light there. It's majority, and I would say no.
well. In discussion with Kenny on that, and we did have discussion. I asked the one for the Golden Pond Lake Shore Drive I asked 7 people in that whole vicinity on that particular lot.
You did not ask us.
Not,
You
not
did
that,
not
not,
ask us.
not that particular,
Properties are adjoining.
yeah, I'm not talking about that light.
Either one, or one of the ones that is passed, we're not husband.
Right.
We were not. And Debbie also was not in approval of the light on the corner either. It apparently, these lights are not wanted by everyone.
LED is light pollution, it's very harsh, we like a softer light.
Yes.
I wouldn't want the light on my corner.
Well, the county,
Already.
the county, that's what the county is switching to,
Well,
so.
there are options. that we-
Well, there doesn't need to be a duplicate light there.
And it also become lower down on the pole so that it doesn't spread out so far. If anybody that's seen
Yeah.
2010 Lakeview, the red brick house out at Creek, if you come in at night, it does not get dark in my house. And if I didn't sleep on the other end of the house, I would shot it out with a gun.
Exactly. And unfortunately, our master bedroom is on the corner of the house where the light shines in.
Okay, well, thank you. Morris?
So if any road contract went out the door, why do you keep talking about?
Rodney.
Oh,
He said he quit and said that you're still gonna pay me. And then.
that's a discussion him and I have to have. Well,
You have a lot of witnesses.
I understand. I understand. Trust me, I understand. But on all of our behalf, I just want to take time and
We don't want.
settle him down.
No.
No,
Want him involved in any way. We'll hire another manager.
Or not, and maybe we can, some more volunteers can step up to do the treasury side. Yeah.
I would prefer we didn't pay the money, but it's a big job. And they
Yes, it is.
volunteer the board. It's
it is. It actually is. All right, let's,
Quick announcement, did volunteer.
yes, Ken.
And a quick announcement, if anybody wants manure in their garden. It's on sale this week. You need it. Come on down.
About what happened. They wanted me to bring it up, they could be at the meeting, or chickens. No, like, but there are multiple people that are interested in having a chicken coop. I would imagine enclosed, where they're not free range flying everywhere. And that was some interest that was raised on next door. I don't know if you guys read all the comments or not, but, the prosthetics. I think that's an excellent idea. So you don't see it, right?
Mr. Blackburn?
That was part of my question. Follow-up to that. The second half of the ACR, architectural guidelines, does not address. The first half of the TCR is that we understand now has been totally replaced by the second half. What to say about fences in the front yard in that second half? The second half doesn't address livestock at all. The first half did, so the second half, as we understand now, amended and replaced, which is the legal wording. Then there's no longer a restriction on having poultry in the neighborhood for the CCNRs. If you read the CCNRs, the second half is also governed. Read our estimate last night, third time, that we got the finding letter. Highlighted, if you want to see my copies. There is no longer a restriction. Now, does that mean we all go out and get goats and everything else? Please. Again, I would like to suggest that we rewrite the NCR, that we include some things logical about him. Spring Hill has an ordinance, they can have so many per acre. Murray County just says you can have animals. So somewhere in between there, I think is something that will use the value of our neighborhood and allow us to not pay $8 a dozen for eggs. You know.
Well,
But I have a suggestion to
we can take and present that as a vote. Some type of vote, or at least clarity as to how everybody feels about that, because it could impact everybody like that. Because it's a big change.
That's why I'm suggesting to rewrite it, the bylaw, one thing. Because right now it's contradictory. It's not what's happening. And we do need to consider our neighbors more issues.
When all this was done, I know we added stuff on the second. But I was not under the impression. I mean, what we added, okay, like condition, okay, originally I think it was in there like the house had to be 1,200 square feet. So we went in and changed it to 400 square feet. So that away with the 1,200. But I'm not an attorney. But I don't think it did away with the animal situation. I mean, it's always been in there. If you had so much land, you could have a horse, 2 acres, okay.
It uses the word replace.
Yeah, I did not, yeah.
2 acres for the first one.
So I didn't, I was not aware of.
You follow Tennessee equine guideline.
Yeah, because I mean, I had a neighbor one time, he snuck some chickens in on me and he was older than me at the time. Well, he's still older than me. And I didn't want to hurt his feelings. That's just the type of person I am. But one morning I heard, so I had to go to him. I say, look, I can live with the chicken, but the rooster's got to go. When he got rid of the rooster. But we'll have to check, you'll be a great one to be, when Lou assigns a committee to look into that. Chuck. I mean, I can't hear.
1 meeting, please.
You said no chickens under any circumstance. And the people that have them now, they've got to get rid of.
Yeah, I didn't know anything about it. Yeah.
Warren, he's gone.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try, well, I was upset, I think, for these notice, I was mad at them for them. Apparently, these were freaking right.
Yes, right.
So it's not them. Instead of me getting upset, I should just talk to you. Apologize. But this is. No, we didn't know. Just because now, okay, so,
Sorry.
Oh, it's on, it's all. We're all gonna. I just want to make water everywhere for minutes.
Point of order, everybody. Yes, sir.
It's the biggest thing. It's like, we don't know what's them, we don't know what you got.
Okay.
And we need to come together as a community and find out.
All us, period.
You know, because there shouldn't be any you guys and us. It should be all us.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's going on here.
Okay.
There shouldn't be any wall.
Okay. I do want to, thank you. I do want to take and finish the agenda. Okay? Buddy?
I'll make it short and sweet. This is on security. I just want to remind everybody that we're still having problems with the children's home. Kids running away. There was a couple of kids run across our property on Lake Shore, and the guy that runs it, he showed up in a van, apologized, but it's still happening. Please lock your cars. Please lock your doors. Don't leave. Lou and I went through the neighborhood the night that it happened.
The last time.
Yeah, and we went up to the facility, nobody was there, no gates, you could drive right in. But we went all through the neighborhood to make sure there was nobody out. We found kids out playing at 9 o'clock at night, which is okay.
Roberson's children.
It's okay. I mean, it's your kids, but we just need to be safe and watch what's going on around us and talk to each other if you see something.
They stole a car across.
Yes, they did.
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I mean, it's a drastic change for some folks, because some folks just leave their property open, leave their garage doors open, and they go to the market and they come back. So those are the things that we have to keep in mind. Possibility, desperate people do desperate. Okay, and these kids have already been somewhat through the mill. There's a couple of different levels. There's foster kids. This institution, they come usually out of foster care. And they have to work themselves back into the system. And there's a process and a program for them to do it, okay? Or they go to the next level, which is usually juvenile detention or something in fact like that.
Does the
Yes, ma'am.
home alert someone on the board there?
No.
No, I think everybody got this.
No.
Okay, I'll get some more copies and distribute them. Okay. But I asked them to generate this on our behalf. And I put them and had the board members here place them in mailboxes and so on, so everybody got one and how to proceed. There's just kind of this is who we are, this is kind of how to follow it.
Can you contact them, let them know there was a kid walking down the street, I called all the numbers, and no one answered.
That doesn't surprise
So
me.
I'm just letting you know.
Yeah,
And the security, like you're talking about, I got the cameras at the front. If anybody does anything in the neighborhood, like destroy stuff or does whatever, my cameras catch everybody coming in and out of the neighborhood. So if you know a certain time it happened, we can go back and look at that and see if possibly it was somebody being silly.
But those kids come in the back.
I have identified cameras for you guys, especially down the lake, that are Wi-Fi, solar powered. And they'll link into it. I put it all the way to the back of my yard. It's about 200 yards away. It's still synced into my Wi-Fi and it's motion sensing, sends you alert, and you can set it up for people or otters. Okay. But if you want those, I'll send those out to everybody. Where to get them on Amazon, they're only like $130. And that way, I think that's what we talked to Mr. Ogles about them down there. So you guys could get alerts. You can see what's going on at night. They're really good. It's clear. I can see all the way to my house. So we're trying to, as far as the security with Mr. Ogles, we're trying to figure out how to secure that better in the neighborhood.
Okay.
So,
okay, so if you do see these kids, they're probably gonna be wearing at least khaki pants, a t-shirt, or some colored green or brown pullover. So just so passing on the information, so be aware. Okay,
Say that they're from the home, because most of them aren't dangerous kids, most of them go to Spring Hill High School. I used to see a lot of them when they used to come into the dentist office that I had used to work at. Most of them are pretty good kids that had and those are just free because they've left their neighborhood and they're just roaming like teenagers.
no.
yeah,
Yeah, I'd like to bring up a point that hasn't been mentioned yet. And I don't know why, but it has something to do with aesthetics. When I come into the development, the first thing I see, which is very unattractive, are potholes. And the concrete trucks that come up and down, they're making it worse.
yes, they are.
How long is this gonna go on before something is done?
Are you talking about our neighborhood, or are you talking about Doc Robinson Road? Okay, I'm kind of taking the initiative. I've talked to the gentleman of the road commission.
Van Boshears.
Yeah, Van Boshears. I've also talked to our representative for the county that they set on the county board. So I'm in contact with the people now, just for information for you. Their budget doesn't come up front to get approved until the June. Okay, and I've tried to be at least on that. At least process ourselves through the commissioner that, hey, I've had him come out. He has perused our subdivision. He understands the issues. He understands our concerns. But we are not necessarily a priority. And obviously, if you've traversed about our fair city and around our area, you see a lot of developments going in. They are getting priority. Okay, and especially when they come online, when they get done, they become priority.
The roads belong to the county.
If you see a pothole, all you have to do is call the county department and they put it on the list. They'll
Yes,
say, okay, we'll put it on our pothole list. And then usually the very next week, they're out to patch.
usually.
So as far as repaving, but I don't know, but patching potholes, they're really responsive to homeowners. So all you have to do is pardon. I called the county road department. And they were like, okay, we'll put it on our list. And the very next week, where the two lanes intersect, and there was all those holes, they were out there patching them.
Yeah.
So.
But
Just have to call.
it's not hot patch, it's cold patch this time of the winter. And it doesn't last as long. It doesn't last as long.
Well, it's usually-
Yeah. Yeah.
But more than likely, the more people that start calling them and harass them a little bit, they'll get tired of it. Maybe they'll do something.
We can go get it.
Well, we generate $200,000 for the county, just in taxes. I think we ought to rate at some point in time. That's just my opinion.
And I know my taxes went up this year. I'm sure everybody else did too, so.
The subdivision never got its final.
Coding, yeah.
Right.
Yes, it did.
But the session was bad and subdivision was unfinished, so it's due a top coat.
Yes.
As Lou said, we're not a high priority because we've been living with it. Yeah. So the squeaky wheel.
It's the grease. It's the grease. Yeah, once Carl finishes his house, that will help.
Yes.
Yeah, that'll help. With that, do we,
I think we bypass this one for right now.
yeah, any more questions in regards to anything? Yes, ma'am.
It's taking a notice of the meeting. Somebody taking notice.
It's on recording.
Perfect. Did we get a second to, I'm sorry, Robert's motion about forming a rewrite, a CCNR's
No, we did not.
committee?
Yes, we can vote on that. We have a quorum. Okay.
But is the motion to table this until after a new CCNRs is written?
Yep.
Okay, the compliance policy.
Fine, policy. Well, the details of the policy, need some work.
No, my question is, it says compliance policy.
Yeah.
What's the second point? It's limited only to this time, or were there more issues?
No, that was it.
No.
That was it, yeah. Are we tabling that or not doing that today?
Yeah, we're gonna
I
table
just
it.
want to know what I'm voting on.
Yeah, we're,
Yeah, the motion was to table the compliance. Sorry, I dropped. Don't mean that literally. The motion was to table the compliance policy. And form a group to present a rewritten CCNRs that would clean up all the contradictory language and make it easier to understand. And then then that would have to come back to the association.
Right.
Incorporate that.
And
And there's some legal stuff, it's gotta be a legal review after.
yes,
Everybody's gotta understand that, that's.
yes.
Since we no longer have, bonding, somebody's gonna have to review it, and then it has to be recorded and stamped and all that kind of stuff. So the motion is just to do a proposed table this compliance and come up with a proposed draft.
We've already seconded it.
Second, but as long as everybody understands we're voting on tabling the compliance and drafting, having a draft committee to draft each CCNRs
Yeah.
to hopefully bring us all together on understanding what we are as an ecosystem.
How are we gonna select? How are we gonna,
Yeah.
we need to send out a sheet of
Yeah.
paper?
Now, now,
Well, if we have a quorum, then we don't need to.
yeah,
So we're not
Well, they're gonna vote no on the compliance, and I think they're gonna take it. All right.
Now, let me speak to you, speak on that particular issue. Before we get out of here and understand what just took place, but who's gonna be on this committee?
Well, I volunteered to be on the committee.
Okay,
I'll do it.
I think we should make sure we have people who've been in the neighborhood a long time as well
They're too busy.
I think
and new.
One person per street. I think one person per street.
I like that.
So I'll stand in the corner where Rodney used to stand. I'll wait to get.
Is this in effect now? Like, could this be enforced now?
no,
No, because it,
we tabled it.
oh, okay. I wasn't sure since it was already signed
It's okay.
into effect.
You can just go.
Okay, I just wasn't sure. I wanted to make sure.
Oops.
My name's Lance. My name's Lance. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, we voted on it. Point of order, please, please. Kenny brought up a good point, because we're gonna be in a state of flux, and trying to figure out what's going on. And those are some of the things that we've got to put closure on, the business activity that the board and Rodney have in hand right now. Like dues collection and some other items, we've got to get. Yeah, retain the lawyer, those kind of things. We gotta take us a little time to get all that back in some sort of fashion. So.
Can we be aware of that? Warren, I think what we gotta do, I believe it is in the contract, that we've gotta give him 30 days notice, even though he said I quit.
Yeah,
You gotta keep everything on the legal part, and it's same thing with us, he can give us 30 days notice, say, I don't wanna take care of Lakeview subdivision anymore, so it's a two-way street, so we're probably locked in for 1 more month.
I just want another representative.
Well, no, we're not gonna do that.
I'll do it instead of him.
Yeah, so we've got, so there's a lot of things, if we're gonna get rid of him, that we've gotta do, cause used to, we had a PO box where you could, send your checks to.
and we don't have that.
We don't have that no more, so there's a lot of things that's gotta take place in the next,
Yeah. They pay all of our bills right now, so we've got to get our arms around some of that. The business part of the subdivision, we gotta get our arms around it.
I would think you should wait.
I don't have an answer on that until I sit down and talk to Rodney, let him cool down. And us negotiate what needs to transpire in the scope of that 30 days.
That we give the board to find a new management company. Should we give you 30 days? Should we give you 60 days to give people?
it's gonna be tough on the management company. Number
He's
one,
cheapest, yeah.
when we were looking before, Rodney was probably half the price.
But then it's gonna
2 or 3
raise
more
HOA
that we
co- or raise fees.
Yeah, exactly. But no, I mean, we really didn't anticipate problems, we really didn't. So it's gonna take a while.
We have another meeting.
But that shouldn't preclude the committee that was just voted.
Oh, no, absolutely not. We're gonna get that committee up and going, and then I guess as a board, we'll have to.
Well, can we request that? It's gonna be an open-ended amount of time. I understand that.
Yeah.
And again, we don't have to have meetings, there's technology, man. Can we get a progress report and say 45 days from the board?
Yeah.
To the residents, because you're representing us.
Yeah.
And it would be something as simple as putting it on the website.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or printing something out, laminating it and putting it on the back of the stuff.
Yeah. The gentleman back here that says something about, I don't know your name, I'm sorry. Website, working on the website.
Robeson,
Yeah,
he's across the creek.
yeah, across the creek, yeah. I mean, we'll make contact with Barbara. And I think I've still got a phone number.
I do too.
Yeah.
But my point is, we just want to be kept in the loop.
Well, let us go from square one,
Cause I'm not a computer.
and then we'll move on from there.
In 45 days, give us an update.
Yeah.
You don't have to call a meeting to do that.
Right.
That's another one of my definitions of transparency.
I'm saying if we find another management company, but the cost is going to be twice the amount or whatever, then maybe we'll have to get a special meeting to vote to say, okay, this is what you all wanted, you wanted to do, this is what it's gonna cost you, and we're gonna have to revise the budget for it. Let's all vote on
And
it.
review what we get for our money.
Yeah, and then, and just vote on it, but then we'd all agree, like,
Let us
okay,
know.
yeah, that's what we're gonna pay, 160 a year.
Just let us know.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
My mail didn't argue, it's never. I checked it and clear, like calling the management company, left a message, no return, left another message, no return, sent an email, no return. I finally got a hold of someone. And her suggestion was, we need to write another check.
Who'd you talk to?
I didn't write her name.
Tammy, Natalie?
Well, so I said, well, my concern is that check flow road.
Right.
Well, drop it off at our office. Right. So I have a lot over the weekend, and all of a sudden I finally got a message. They didn't even leave, they called. Didn't leave a message. I called back to the office, no one answered. So then I checked my bank records, the check did clear, so they stuck my check somewhere for a month. And if I didn't call, they probably would have never found it. So. I would suggest we make sure-
Anybody else have that problem?
There's two different addresses. And two different.
Yeah, and yeah, I know, anytime you have those kind of things, that there's no explanation as to check A or check B, and what does it all mean? It becomes very cumbersome. I don't like processes like that. Yeah.
So we're going on the rebuilding process of the HOA, correct? Yeah. Basically. Let's just be patient, figure it out and work with it. I understand. But
I called the question, and we're gonna vote on those. First thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we go and vote on the motion I made?
Yes.
The table, the, yeah.
If you don't.
I'm gonna be keeping it.
Go ahead.
I'd like to call the question, so we can vote on the CCNR compliance motion.
Show of hands that want to table the
Compliance and rewrite
table, yes.
draft.
Well,
Majority rule.
Draw the rule.
Oh, Lou, she had.
Like, you have like 40 hours overtime this week, and if I can't be here, how do I do a proxy? And where do I have to sign something?
You don't have to do a proxy.
I want, because if I can't be here, I want, that's.
You've already voted.
Letters should have been coming to the mail for, well,
Charge co-host.
Maybe.
You got it.
I'll turn on the 20.
No.
It makes two.
We like to volunteer, to do like the treasury aspect, instead of turning the HOA over to, or the management over to the management company. Possibly save us $3,600 to $7,200.
Who's Chris?
Right.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Teacher. Sorry, but.
I have questions.
Yeah. Possibly take that over, and if we could, put that in the next, I think to have a vote.
How long do you plan on living here?
I've lived here for 20 years,
How long do you plan
the
on?
rest of my life.
Okay, that's great. There's that issue there too, that's one of the reasons why we hire somebody outside. Because somebody might just pick up and leave. But if you guys are gonna grandfather and live here the rest of your life, then you're our people.
Oh, we.
Okay, can I ask a question?
They're long sweet,
Other
so.
than the treasury, what, Ron?
Other than treasury and AR, What other services do the property management company provide?
They pay the electric bill, they pay the insurance bill,
So that's got.
They,
they pay the landscaper.
So accounts receivable.
they paid our HOA.
Yeah.
Right, so.
Fees.
I'm asking all money. Other than treasury.
And then they don't taxes.
You gotta
They
file,
provide extra services.
you have to file a tax every year.
They didn't
Not, not
provide
necessarily,
landscaping, they didn't
no.
provide legal.
Well,
Yes, they did.
They provide legal, and
That's
that's
why
where,
I'm asking.
yeah, they would.
They,
The
any
reason why I'm
management,
asking the question is to understand.
Yeah.
Did they only do financial, fiduciary, treasury? Because if these ladies do it, what other services would we have to consider that they perform?
right.
That's why I asked the question.
Neighborhoods to pick everybody's house apart. I can tell you that right
No,
now.
but I'm asking, what else did they do that we would have to
They have to
consider?
file, and they have to file a tax return
Right.
every year.
But they did that as well.
Yes, and they also have to, I think they have to acknowledge to the state that they're a going entity, so they have to file some paperwork every
Yes,
year.
$40.
Yeah, $40.
And if she's an accountant, so that would all be covered, but if we have any legal fees, then we have to get a, we have. to-
Retain a lawyer.
That's my question. Did they do the services?
Yeah, he had an attorney, I guess,
Out of Nashville.
covered all his properties that he was.
They still can cover it.
What's that?
They just still cover it. It's not under their name.
Yeah,
It doesn't matter what we're.
Yeah, I mean-
No HOA.
yeah, it don't matter, it's just, I mean, he might have been getting a little bit of a reduced rate from this attorney because he was handling everything
Right.
for him. I mean, attorneys are not cheap, I mean.
Correct.
I'm sure.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, you're gonna be bonded and insured, and, I mean, there's more to it than saying, and and I appreciate what you're saying, Danny,
We don't really know what it entails, but we
Yeah,
would like
yeah.
to try to save everyone.
because you wanna, you want to protect yourselves also.
Exactly, exactly.
So we
And I
don't
would,
put that in your team skill, like I said, in the-
10 years or so, it's not, it wouldn't be my first go around with the HOA, being on the HOA.
Yeah.
But I know that we would have to have a board member vote in order to join the board and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
So there's more to it than us just volunteering,
Yeah, I mean,
so.
y'all need to think about the legal ramifications, on all of this, I mean.
We'll follow
I
up
don't
on
want- I
that,
don't want
figure it
people
out.
calling y'all and chewing y'all out
That
because
was gonna go on the top.
how come you wrote this check for this, it's, I mean, there's more to it than you, and no doubt you can probably handle it.
would think
I'm
so.
just trying to protect, is all I'm trying to do. It's just like the insurance that we pay, if you ever become a board member, it covers the board members too. If Warren ever wanted to sue Kenny Hayes for $500 or $10,000 for being.
Small claims court, $200.
He could do that, and, yeah, well, I'm just saying, but, I mean, when when next year at this time, will be an election year, and we encourage people to think about getting on this board, because I've been on it now forever, and I'm about ready to come off. I mean, nothing that's got to do with anybody in here, but it needs to go around, there needs to be more people involved.
Yes.
And you can't, like Lou said, you could raise the board from 5 people to 7 people. So, for 7 people, that's fine too, but
We've had 7 before.
yeah, so, yeah, we have had 7, we had 7 when we first started, but, yeah.
With all this discussion, I want to be clear, I have not paid my dues yet.
Hey, mine ain't bad.
Wait for them.
Just hold your dues.
Yeah.
Until we get, hold your dues until we get things sorted out.
Yeah.
We're kind of in a state of chaos right now.
I also need to spend communication on, we officially got rid of Rodney. because we were
What-
saying about him, like,
In 45 days, we should have some answers and hopefully some progress of what we need to do, what we still need to do, where we're at. And,
Is there still a chance that that we're gonna stay with him, or is it like definitely?
We got 2 for 30 days. We know that. They keep it legal, but, I mean, and that gives us time to, start working on something new and,
So when he gets mad, my house is further back, so I'm gonna be like the last house in the cabin.
yeah. No, he's not going.
point to order, please, please. I just wanted to talk, let me speak to this forum. One thing I got from Rodney was in regards to the architectural committee. What this does, and some of you've seen this form, some, especially that you've had projects here recently. We've introduced this for folks. What this form does is it gives us some history. What we've approved, because a lot of it's just been kind of word of mouth. Or a nod of the head, or a review of somebody's plans. So this form is very helpful if you follow the process. It builds history for those that will come after us, so we don't have to spin our wheels and things, and you have something to reference. You can kind of see from which we came forward, what we approved and why. Okay,
We're gonna do that.
I have this form.
Well, I was gonna say.
I mean, I have this form right now, but if you're looking to have one, okay.
We're gonna play. I think at the end of this meeting, the whole field days started off, said what we wanted. The board, very hard working, and we want you to know we appreciate you. On our end.
Thank you.
I think the reason that there's so many people here is that we have felt that we have not had a business. And,
Agreed.
I think, and so that's what we want. We want to be more involved in the board. So if we have more meetings or, that it goes both ways. I think sometimes, you've lost your temper, sometimes we've lost our temper, but we're all neighbors.
Right.
So we have to try to get along as neighbors.
Amen.
And so, we all got to say what we wanted to say, some of us 2 and 3 times. But I think we should stop now and try to work together. The board could be a little less confrontational and be a little more conversation.
I think they wrote something.
Because we don't want to not get along. We want to. So if you just talk to us like a normal person, sometimes we think some of the things we're pulling are a little. Because we don't know. So
Now we know.
you can see that there's a lot of interest in this community. So we thank you.
And that's a good thing. Yeah.
What you want people?
So know, like, in the 45 days, how are we gonna be communicated and all this stuff?
And you're saying that-
Are you gonna do a website, are you gonna send out like a postcard?
I was suggesting on that, I mean,
Yes.
we have a board, not your board, but the marker. board.
That's fine.
The sign.
Yes.
Going out in everything.
Communication board.
I would suggest everybody should have an email address. And that's
We have
great.
20 people that do not have an email address currently.
Okay. Use that board, that sign.
Check the website.
This says, an email went out this week. If you didn't get it,
Call us.
call the board.
See your board member.
Website,
Yeah.
update on.
Yeah.
Either way, but I think it'd be
From
good.
blah, blah.
I think it'd be good, like, possibly the kids probably true that we have one email per home that they could send out.
And all call.
Kids in the neighborhood or
We'll run and give
some
them
kind of
all.
emergency, we need some kind of, so everybody, so one house, at least one good email per house. that they can have on a notification where Kenny or Lou or whatever can just hit Lakeview alert. And the only way we're gonna know if that works, is sign on the sign that says, we're testing the alert system, we did get email, contact the board. Use all this, because everybody. And they're trying, just, it seems like there was a glitch over in that corner that's not there anymore.
I tell you what we'll do, we'll keep contact with Kevin. And once we know that you've got this thing up and going from Barbara, let me know, then we can post it on the board that the,
We can test
website.
it. We can test it.
Yeah.
Let's test it and see
Yeah,
if we
test
got
it,
any
yeah.
hiccups or shortcomings.
He has 30 days. He has 30 days.
Yeah, what-
That's PPI, that's personal privacy, whatever.
Right,
information.
right,
He has to
right.
Give that back to the board.
Yeah, he's gotta keep everything he's got up and going for 30 days.
That's the other dilemma. They retain records for us. That's the other service that they provide. They retain our history. So we have to look at how much that is and what we're gonna do with it.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
That's why I said we
Well, I-
probably need more than 30 days.
Well, that's one reason that we went to somebody like him. I'm not gonna mention the name no more. But. What you mean, no doubt he knows what he's doing. Yeah, he lost his school. He really did. And, yes, hopefully he'll send out a letter of apology to everybody in this room for doing that.
So that I can't say that we weren't
Yeah.
hostile.
And we were hostile, you know, which is like, you know, if Rob came over to my property and he started getting his finger in my face, I can take it just for a little bit. But, you know, but sooner or later it gets to be too much, then you're gonna jump right back in him. And Warren, I think that's what was going on between you and him. And, I mean, I know he wanted you to go outside with him, but I appreciate you not going out there. I really do. And, you know, there was one time, Warren and I, we were battling a little bit. And, through email, I mean, you can say a lot of crap through an email. You know? And,
Yeah.
But finally, Warren and I just got together in person. And we settled our differences, right? Is that right, Warren? Yes, we did.
Okay.
My name's Marilyn Bayham. I found a little slip of paper from a couple of years ago that I was given for a women's group within LakeView Estates. I mean, so I'm the Sandy Mount, who I don't know, but she said. she
Oh,
was one of
Sandy
the-
Mounts, that's Craig Moats.
There,
One.
so she was very kind and she said that they tried to get a little women's community going here a couple of years ago and it just didn't take. And so I sent out a quick word today. If any of you of the women in interested are interested in being together or just communicating, I have a link for you. And.
Oh.
Yeah, make sure we have one for other. Before we dismiss.
Yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to say, my name is Kim Walls, this is my husband Dale and my sister Renee, we moved in May of last year. We're the ones that bought the house and remodeled the whole damn thing.
Yeah, that was a hell of a job.
Thank you. Into this community, because when we lived on the farm, my husband never lived in this. So it was so hot, so hot. Sold our farm and we moved to Lakeview because number one, it was a great community. Number two, the houses are not on top of.
Yeah, you don't find that anymore.
You know, I didn't take him into a 4 acre lot, so I'm having to move out of. We love this community. He came to me before we ever moved into our house last year because it was not 25 people. And I said to him when we left, "Well, all those people and nobody's showing up, what's the problem? You know, and then this year, all of a sudden, there's heated tempers on everybody's side. I see that and I get it, And but now, that's what it took to bring all of us out here. It shouldn't take the tempers to bring us out here.
Right.
We should come to every single board meeting, because if you want to be involved with what they're doing, we gotta support them and be involved and let them know we're working. Now, I've heard some comments about walking the neighborhood. Listen, I am so happy that Kathy and Lou walk that neighborhood, because I feel like they're almost like a security patrol. Okay? I know. I need to walk too, Lord have mercy. Anyway, I don't feel that way. And Dale and I have had grass cutting business before. We cut our neighbor's yard, we she bought her first house.
Haley.
Just trying to mow that with a 20-inch push mower, and there's just no way. We cut her yard. If you are in need of some help, please don't hesitate to let us know. Stick a note in my mailbox at 2428. We're across the street from Lou. We're happy to help. And see if, because I know the mowers break down, belts break, and they can't get them, so you're out of there, you know? So we're happy to have people. Let's just keep this together. Let's keep this camaraderie going. And if you got a problem with me, call me. If I got a problem with you, I'll call you. My dogs escape all that. We're here beyond just. And they're all know to go out and look for the dog because he's escaping. Yeah. We're just running down the street. I think we can laugh at 30 years. Need something I can do, I'll do it. If I can find somebody. So let's keep this on.
All right, with that, I will take and, please sign up if you're interested in being a member of that committee. And then with that, I thank you for being patient. I thank you for being civil. I thank you for tempering your temper. And thank you for coming. I appreciate it. With that, I adjourn the meeting. I've got some.
Make sure. Stop recording.